It's like how you fixed, in terms of the weekend.
Yeah, good, ready to go. So, it's the longest off season, and you can see the last game was the 6th of November, so it's now come to the end of February, so it's a long off season. We're just ready to go now.
Where are you squad wise? Have you anything else to do?
Possibly maybe one or two more before the window closes, but even if we didn't get them in, we're quite happy with the squad as it is. We're still looking for one, possibly two more, but we've another loan to use, so we'll hopefully get that done as well before the window closes.
Where are you looking positionally? Is that defensively or?
Well, we brought another player in, 𝗖𝗹𝗄𝗙𝗦𝗏 from Coventry, that's going to give us more cover at the back as well. So listen, we look to see what's available first, and if we can get one that's going to strengthen us, we'll look to bring him in.
How important was it to have quite a number of last season squad retained as well, and not be ripping it up and starting completely from scratch?
Yeah, listen, it's something that obviously in the circumstance I got the job 12 months ago, there was a lot of contracts that weren't renewed, and lads were out of contract, and there was a big turnover in players, so I think it was 15 or so from last season we have again this year, and listen, it gives a little bit of continuity. They've worked with us for 12 months, they know how we're wanting to work, and we can specifically then target the ones we want to bring in. I think we've 6 new players in already, and if we can get another one in, 7, it's still quite a lot of new faces to embed into a squad, but listen, we're happy with that as well.
You've 18, I think last year's league there were 18 points between yourselves and Rovers, 5 points between yourselves and Derry. So how are you going to close those gaps this year, and think you can?
Yeah, that's the plan. Listen, the target for this year is we want to improve on last year. We had 61 points last year, which was a good return. We were very inconsistent in the first half of the season, and we got a little bit more consistency then the second half of the year, and the club finished second the year before I got here on 62 points, so we were only a point behind the tally that Stevie got in 2021. So the plan is to improve, get more points than we did last season, and to do that we've got to obviously have a more consistent campaign from start to finish, and that's the aim.
With the three-month gap, is there any momentum that there is from the second half of last season when you do get more of that consistency and show probably more of what you thought this team could be?
Yeah, I think it'll come naturally enough that the lads will understand the way we want to play. They know how we work, they know each other now a lot better as well, so we'll be expecting that we'll be able to bring the form from the second half of the season in. It doesn't happen automatically, but you'll make sure that we still drive home the ideas that we have and how we want them to play, and I think they understand that a little bit more now, and hopefully that will result in us getting more positive results at the start of the season.
What would you say the difference between this week compared to this time last year, when you probably had a new squad and the players still getting to know each other so much?
Yeah, and again, a lot of players didn't know the league that we brought in last year as well. We've a better squad this year than we had last year as well. It's another massive plus for us this season. Lads are maturing a bit more. It's a young squad. It still is a very young squad, but you've got the likes of Joe Redmond now, who's another 30 or 40 games under his belt. So Anto Breslin's flying again, more games. So it's a young enough team, but there's a young team with plenty of experience as well. So yeah, I think just where we are, as in having worked with them for 12 months, having played with each other for 12 months, and then only bringing in 6 players this season rather than probably 16 last year has helped massively.
I think Derry came here early last year, and sort of the number on you is like, that was obviously a tough night. Is that sort of what was that night like for you in terms of figuring where we are at the moment and where we need to get to, if you know what I mean? Yeah,
listen, it was like men against boys that night. It's probably one of them games where everything that could have gone right for Derry that night went right. So Ďumaigin scored an absolute belter from 30 yards. We passed it into the top corner, and they scored a few goals in the first half as well, and they took their chances. We were pretty poor as well, so that sort of showed us that we were a good bit off it. And then, funny enough, after the back of that, I don't think Derry won in 10 games. But he won one of the next 10, which probably cost them. Really challenging Rovers for the league. from the other side of it then, from my point is we lost that game quite heavily. We lost up there against Derry last year in it was the 92nd, 93rd minute. And we lost at home to them as well, 1-0 later on in the season when there was very little in the game. And I know it's all ifs, buts and maybes, but if we don't concede late up there and we draw here, we would have finished ahead of Derry last season. So it's not like it's a huge gulf between the squads. I think they've strengthened. I think we've strengthened as well. And listen, it's an opportunity now for us to try and go on first day out, try and beat the only team we didn't beat last season, which was Derry.
To what extent, obviously Adam O'Reilly's gone to them now, to what extent were you kind of in that fight for his permanent signature this winter?
Listen, I was speaking to Adam constantly from last season. I would have had a good chat with him and got on really well with him last season when he was here. He was excellent for us. I think he wanted to stay here, and the club put a very, very good offer on the table to him, but he obviously got a better deal up in Derry, so I know he was only looking for a 1-year deal off us because he still has aspirations to go back to the UK, and the financial package his agent asked for was ridiculous. Now I don't think he's got anywhere near that up in Derry either, but he's obviously gone and looked at it and he's decided to sign for Derry, which is, listen, it's a good move from Derry. An excellent team. They won the cup last year. Looks like it's a team that's trajectory's going up. And listen, we wish Adam well because he was brilliant for us here last year, which is the reason why we offered him a contract to try and keep him. But again, what the club did, in fairness now to the chairman and the club, they put a very, very good offer on the table. And listen, when it comes down to if you get a better offer elsewhere, that's a job that we're in. Is
that a sign of maybe where Derry are in the market? A lot's made of their potential sort of spending power.
I don't think so. I think we've obviously recruited good players as well. So it's not a case of Derry came in and just said no. There you go. It's Adam where he was at his stage. He might say it himself. It's an opportunity. He might have said that he really wanted to look at. But listen, this is what it is. We've signed players as well that have turned down other clubs. Other players have turned down us, and it's a part of the industry. So you can't dwell on that because next player comes and goes as quick as can be.
So I think he signed 2 years in Derry then. I think is that so? Were you surprised to see that when there was a 1-year chat at your end?
I was, yeah, because I genuinely, every talk I had with Adam from mid-season last year to now was very much he wanted a 1-year deal because he still wanted to go back to England. So obviously he sees the 2-year option at Derry as good for his career going forward, which is great. And that's what you sort of want to see with clubs in the League of Ireland, is tying players down to longer than 1-year deals. And I think that's why you've probably seen a lot of movements from outside the league this year, because a lot of the clubs are doing their business and getting their assets or their best players tied down longer, which can only mean that there's a hell of a lot of our standard in the league, and teams will be able to build on a yearly basis and make it more competitive.
The difference between yourselves and Derry was head-to-heads last year. Are those going to be important this year, and is this game almost too early in the season?
Yeah, listen, we accumulated more points. Take the head-to-heads out, we would have finished 5 points ahead of them last year, so it shows that we're not a million miles off. In the head-to-heads against the top teams last season, I think we can definitely improve on the return of points that we got. I think you look at the points Rovers beat us 3 times, we beat them once. I think we shared the points with Dundalk, both 1-1 and drew the other 2. But I think if you look at, probably should have won maybe more than one of the games in that one. And then the Derry one was late goal up there, got beaten absolutely comprehensively here, and then got beaten 1-0 here as well late in the season, where there was very little in the game. So we need to do better in the head-to-heads, and that's obviously something that we've looked at and analysed and what we want to do.
If you do all that, it sounds like a title challenge is realistic.
Well, listen, we want to just improve on last season, and you look at things where you come up short where you want to improve, and I know it's the old cliche, but listen, we literally is take every game as it comes and try and win the next game, and that's where we're at. I think other people will probably have Derry as the favourites to challenge Rovers or beat them to it, and rightly so, because they were excellent last season, won the cup. Again, as you said, momentum probably coming to this season, and that's where we have to try and get more consistent ourselves over the course of the year, and if we can do that, we'll certainly be able to put more points on the board than we did last year.
I know you've been training here a bit this week, maybe just to, I don't know, maybe to get some of the newer faces used to the place or whatever the reasons are, but like it's sold out tomorrow night. Is that like a great education for some of those new lads into what the potential, or Friday, sorry, like to what the actual potential is for the club here, just to actually, you know, see the place heaving on Friday as it will be?
Yeah, I think it's testament to, I think, when the fans see what's going on the pitch. It's very much driven from the social media side of things as well at the club. It's been a really good a drive from the club, and I think they're doing a lot more in the community, and it's been promoted, and I think that's been responded to by the fans and the numbers that are coming through the gate. Obviously, off the back of winning the cup, there was a feel good factor, momentum. We had a few good days in Europe last year, and I think the second half of the season, I think how we want to play, I think the fans can see that, and I think they probably sense that there might be something special happening here, and that's what we're looking for. Apart from Rovers last season, we were the only ones who scored more goals than us in the league. Far end of the pitch, we can keep certainly more out, so we're trying to entertain, we're trying to be exciting, and that's been shown by the support, which has been unbelievable. Second highest attendance in the Premier Division last season, which is brilliant for Pats. And I think again this year you can see it's sold out from the very first game of the season, and it's for us on the pitch now to get it right. And I'm sure if we're getting results right and playing good football and entertaining the fans and showing them that the lads are right at it, that consistency with the fan base will continue, and it can only be a good thing for everyone.
Will Mason Melly be part of your first team squad this year? What do you say, 17 to 19?
Nah, listen, Mason's 15 years of age, so you have to be very careful. He's a very talented young player. He's one that we've had in training with us last year when he was 14. Physically he's not far off the level that is required for the League of Ireland. I think what helps him is that it's a younger age profile coming down year by year. He's a very talented young kid. He's actually away with the Irish 16s playing today. He started up front, so he's a kid that we've a lot of high hopes for at the club. And if he does develop, listen, it's not something that we would turn down saying that no, there's no chance of being involved, because if he's doing well, he'll certainly get opportunities. It's the sort of way I've managed since I've been a manager. I know Pat's is the same. Sam Curtis played a lot of games last year at 16, so it's a lot easier to drip feed a 15, 16 year old under a striker into first team football, because you can give them minutes here or there. And so he's one that, like, listen, we're very happy with him. He's developing very well in the academy, and he's certainly one that's pushing onto the fringes and on the cusp of first team recognition as well.
Will it be 17s, 19s? We'll see him in early on anyway.
Oh yeah, at the start of the season it'll definitely be 17s, 19s. You have to be patient, and you have to respect that he's still only 15 years of age, so physically he's very good, but there's a big step from academy football into first team, and we have to protect Mason as well.
Your first two games on?
Yeah.
Is that because that's the Rovers? Is it talent?
I think it's talent not being available. We're first two at home, then the second two are away. So
does that suit you having the first two at home? Like, you know, you can the old cliche, the old fortress. But you get this.
Yeah, listen, you want to play at home. Inevitably, you're going to have to play everybody both home and away twice anyway. So it makes no difference really in the long term. But it's certainly not a bad thing to start off with a home game. Derry coming as well, as it's to be a huge test. We were up there on Friday for the President's Cup, so they are going to be very strong, but certainly one that lads are looking really forward to, especially the new guys as well. As you were saying there, the sold out stadium and against one of the best teams in the country, it'll be a baptism of fire for them. I'm sure they're going to.
And do you still think there's a season in another good season in Owen Doyle?
Yeah, I keep hearing all this about Owen Doyle. He scored 14 goals last year. There was one person in the country who scored more than him, and that resulted in him getting a move to League One. So Owen played a hell of a lot of games, more than he should have last season, but we have other players in now that will be able to contribute in the attacking end of the pitch that will take a load off Owen as well. And again, Rory Gaffney got Player of the Year last year, and rightly so, because he was excellent for Rovers, but his game isn't based basically solely on goals scored. So Owen's a huge part of what we're doing, and he's massive for how we want to play and the success that we do get on the pitch as well. So it's not just the goals return.
Mm-hmm. Is he a good figure on the training ground and in the dressing room?
Perfect, yeah.
Cool. Great. Thank
No
you.
bother, lads. Thank you.